Welcome guys to another awesome video by Perlin Sama. And by another I mean the first. So today we're going to be talking about finding the frequency of an element inside an array. First of all, we'll work with strings, then we'll work with numbers. So what we're just trying to do in just let me summarize it up is that each of these elements want to write is some set of code that are going to tell us how many times each of these elements occur. So by ourselves, let's try to count how many times A appears in this array. We have 1, we have 2, and we have 3. Then B, 1, 2, 3. Then C, 1, 2. So now we're going to create some set of instructions that are going to, okay, we're going to code up, make some code that is going to do that for us instead of we counting it ourselves manually, you get. So first of all, we're going to count an empty object called count. After that, we're going to utilize one of our high order function, which is for each. Just that for each. Then passing one argument, that will be the current element. Then we're going to utilize a ternary operator. The condition will be count e. What this simply does is check if e, the current value, is present in count. Then if this is true, we want that element in the count object to be incremented. And if not, we want to assign that element in the count object to 1. Oh, oops. Seems I made a mistake. Okay. So now let's console log it and see if it works. Actually, I'm using Quokka, so there's no need for us to console log it. Just pull letters. And as you see, not letters. Count. Okay, and as you can see, just like we counted before, A appears 3 times, B appears 3 times, and C appears 3 times. Oh, 3 times. Let's count that. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I made a mistake counting it before. So now, how does this entire code work? What happens is that at this condition, it checks this E represents each of these elements at different periods of time, like at different indexes to be more specific. So let's start with A. It's bringing A here now. It's asking, is A in count? And as you can see, count is an empty object, so no, A is not in count. And since this condition is false, it's going to work with this falsy condition and assign that property to 1. Let me give you a better example to make you understand it more. Test. So let's say this is what we're doing. Let's console log test A. As you can see, it becomes undefined, and undefined is a false value. So we're going to work with the falsy condition. Okay, and falsy condition tells us to increment that property, to assign that property to 1, like so. Now let's check what the value of test, and as you can see, test has a property A, which is assigned to 1. So let's do that same process for B. Let me just copy and paste this, check the code a little, go here and put B, and just like that. Let me do the same. Let me put some space. Let me do the same thing for C. And just like that. So this is just what is going on in this code right here. But instead of us writing this long code and doing it manually, this short code, how many lines? Like just 4 line of code just help us to do this entire thing. So now let me show you what happens when the condition will actually be true. So now presently, if we do this, if we console log, if we copy this now and check it, if a is a count, it's going to show you that yes, it's in count and it has the property of 1. So since it's a positive value, it's truthy, it's going to work now with the truthy condition, which is to increment. So now we're going to go test and we increment the plus plus sign. And when we try to check what test is right now, it's going to be 2. So this is what is just going to keep on happening. When you go with B, it checks that B, when it goes with B, it checks that B is in the test objects. Okay, let's go with there. When it goes with B, for the second time, when it goes with B here, it's going to show that B is in count now. So it goes with the truthy condition and increments B. And that is how it's going to do. It's going to repeat as long as till the end of a array. So now let me show you how we're going to get the frequency of each element when we're working with numbers. So let's say let nums go 1 2 3 1 2 2 3 1 2. Typing me off. Okay, so just like before, we're going to do the same, somewhat, let me say something like this, but with a little, just a little difference. We're going to create a count object again, an empty one. Then this time, instead of using for each first, we're going to map this array, passing one parameter, one argument, which is the current element. Then we're going to use the string constructor and place the parameter e inside. What this simply does is transform everything here into a string. Okay, let me console.log it for you to see. Letters, oh sorry, not letters, nums. And as you can see right here, the numbers which were in integer form before are now strings. So let's remove that, continue with what we're doing. Nums. Okay, then after that, we're going to now, after this is the only tweak that we're going to use to transform it to strings, to a string. Then we're going to use the for each, then passing just e as the current element, and count, check if that's element, no, this should be 2, check if it's in count 2, then assign array to speak question mark. I don't know why I keep on making that mistake. Increment this, then count everyone. So there's nothing new or fancy here, it's just the same thing over here. So now let's console log count 2 and see what it gives us. Oh, I made a mistake, I didn't add the 2 here. And over here, let's see, it tells us 1 appears 3 times, 2 appears 3 times, and 3 appears 2 times. So that's all for this video. I actually wrote a course, I actually wrote an article about this entire thing on my Arsenal blog. I even wrote it on dev but I'm going to pass the link under the description. So if you're not that good with this video, you can still read it because the people, just go check them out. Not too much talk. Bye.